welcome to the first episode of the NHL Playoff podcast featuring Miggy. So, we're going to start with the 7 games that have gone so far between Saturday and Sunday. First at hand is the Senators versus the Hurricane game. It was quite the physical game, with Ottawa having 39 hits and Carolina having an impressive 57 hits. Although the hits were more towards Carolina, Senators did win when it came to the faceoff. They had more faceoff wins with a total of 56.4% on the dot. The game kind of started for some fans that are on the newer side. They may have not liked it. For the old rough head like myself, Brady Tkachuk challenged the Hurricanes captain Jordan Staal, and he, of course, accepted it to defend his house or his barn. And that was 3 seconds within the whistle in the first period. Now, the Hurricanes did go with their veteran Frederik Andersen, who posted his 6th career shutout win in the playoffs. Artem Zoom left the game after a hit. There is no update on him yet, as well as Gilbert from Ottawa got hit very hard and seemed to have favored his left shoulder. So those could be 2 crucial pieces to Ottawa that they can't really afford to lose. Hurricanes' whole defense was top-notch. They shut her down. Everything that Ottawa was throwing at them, they could stop, and if not, then Frederik Andersen was there to shut down any threats or any possibility of a goal. The Hurricanes' offense came from 3 guys, Logan Stankoven, Jake Blake, and Taylor Hall brought all the offense. Stankoven had a goal and an assist, so did Hall, and Jake Blake assisted twice. Now, with this particular game, I felt like it could have been a little closer on the physicality, but like I said, Sens made up for it in the faceoffs. The Wild and the Stars is a complete shocker. The Stars did not show up, and rookie phenom Wallstedt played phenomenally. Stopped almost anything the Stars could shoot at him, but Jason Robertson did squeak one by in the third period. There was 4 Wild players with 3 points. That is insane in a playoff game to have 4 players with 3 points. Zuccarello had 3 assists. Kaprizov had 1 goal and 2 assists. Eriksson Ek had 2 goals and 1 assist. And Boldy had 1 assist and 2 goals. Now, as previously stated, the status of Heiskanen and Hughes was unsure on Saturday. They both played and were both crucial parts to their team's defensive core. Hughes played a bigger part due to the fact that he assisted twice on Minnesota's 6 goals. For the Dallas Stars, all I can say right now is they have to sit down and regroup and find a way to bounce back, or else this is going to be a very lopsided series to what people thought was going to be a very tight series. The Battle of Pennsylvania, so the Pittsburgh Penguins versus the Philadelphia Flyers. Travis Sanheim gives the Flyers the go-away goal in the third. A absolute beautiful goal. He split the defense right down the middle and hit a shot that Skinner couldn't stop. It was Vladar also's first playoff win after coming over from Calgary during the offseason. Malkin, even though the Penguins lost, put up a pretty decent game with a goal and an assist. And Ristolainen, which most people will overlook due to Martone's goal and Drysdale's goal and Sanheim goal, had 2 assists. So the defense did help the offense quite a lot for the Flyers. The only thing that the Pittsburgh Penguins did a lot better, and with having Malkin and Crosby helps a lot, is they won almost 60% of their faceoffs. So it's to see if in the next couple of games that will help them in the future to score some goals if they have offensive faceoffs, or if it's going to help them defend their zone if they have defensive faceoff. But 60% is a very good number. It gives you a 20% difference, which could be the difference in a win or a loss. But as you can tell now, Flyers won this one. Pittsburgh are an older team versus the Flyers' very younger team, so that might be an advantage as well for the Philly Flyers, because that means in the third period they'll have a little bit more juice than the older Pittsburgh Penguins. The Kings versus the Avalanche was a lot tighter than a lot of people would think. Avalanche winning the President Trophies, and LA squeaking their way in at the end of the season to make it in the playoffs. Now, Scott Wedgwood, first playoff start, as well as his first playoff win. He did quite well. He was faced with a lot of high danger shots and showed that he was able to stay with saving them and giving his team that confidence in the back that they need. Now, this game could have been a lot more one-sided, but Anton Forsberg made multiple key saves that kept LA in the game. Panarin did score his first LA playoff goal, so that was a big moment for him. But the LA Kings have a big confidence boost after this one. Yes, they lost, but by losing, they also won, because a lot of people thought that they were going to be pushed over from the Avs, and they showed in this game that they were there to play, and they were not just going to let the President Trophy winner steamroll them. Now, the Sabres versus Bruins game was a very interesting one. The Bruins led 2-0 until there was 8 minutes left in the third period. And then the Sabres decided that they knew how to play hockey again and scored 3 in 4.5 minutes. So that is a goal every minute and a half. Basically, what that means is that the Bruins just had to held down the lead in the third, and they found a way to choke it. Buffalo just kept shooting. The difference in shots is insane. It's an 18-shot difference. So Buffalo almost had twice the amount of shots that Boston had. They had 38 to Boston's 20. Buffalo was also the most physical team between the two, with 53 hits to 38. Tage Thompson with 2 goals and 1 assist. Pasternak and Morgan Geekie both with 1 goal and 2 assists. In my personal opinion, I feel like the defense could help out Swayman a little more. Swayman was pretty well in the zone during the game. Yes, he let in 3 in 4.5 minutes, but I was looking at some of the highlights and I looked at the third period, and I just personally feel like the defense could have helped them out just a little bit more with positioning and taking away some of the passes. The Mammoths versus the Knights. Big moments for the Mammoths. They get relocated to Utah 2 years ago from Arizona. They didn't have a name last year. They're just the Utah Hockey Club. This year, they get their name, the Utah Mammoths. And in the first year of having their name, the Utah Mammoths, they made the playoffs. Now, once again, the playoffs do get more physical. It gets faster, and there's a lot more to lose. Now, going up against the Vegas Knight, they have a lot of experience in the playoffs since they've been in the playoffs multiple times in the last 5 years. Vegas was also a way more physical team with 51 hits to Utah's 31 hits. Other than the hits, though, Utah did keep it pretty close in every other categories, meaning faceoffs, turnovers, giveaways, takeaways. Penalty minutes were pretty close. The Utahs didn't capitalize on their power play, but the Knights did. The Knights did also score 2 goals in a minute and 47 seconds, which gave them a 3-2 lead over Utah, which then Ivan Barbashev would score their fourth goal in an empty netter to make it a 4-2 game. Now, as I mentioned before, it was Utah's first playoff game, and Vegas is very experienced in the playoffs, winning a cup a couple years back. It would have to see how Utah learns from this experience, this match for game 2 that is happening on Tuesday. Now, my favorite one, due to the fact, as all you guys know, I am a big Habs fan. The Montreal Canadiens versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. Montreal winning 4-3 in overtime. A lot happened in this game. There was 3 lead changes. So Montreal would open up the playoff game in the first period with Josh Anderson scoring his first playoff game goal of the season. Lightning would then score 2 goals in 29 seconds to take a 2-1 lead. Juraj Slafkovsky would then score a goal in the second period to tie it up. Going in the third, tied at 2, Juraj Slafkovsky would score his second goal on the power play to give Montreal the 3-2 lead. Hagel would then score his second goal of the night to tie it back up to 3-3. Now, this game went to overtime, which Montreal was on the power play, and after a minute, Martin St. Louis, their head coach, called a timeout. That timeout was a genius move from Martin St. Louis, as it gave time for his first power play unit to rest after being on the ice for almost a full minute. After the timeout, Montreal goes on, and about 20 seconds later, Juraj Slafkovsky ends the game with a power play goal to secure his first power play hat trick in the playoffs. And now it was also the first time in Montreal Canadian in the Canadiens' history that a player scores a power play hat trick in the series. Now, not to say that Tampa Bay didn't have a good game either. You had Jake Getzel, who had 3 assists. You had a 2-goal night from Hagel, a 2-point night from Kucherov. But special teams did play a major part, as I said earlier. Slafkovsky with his 3 power play goals, and Tampa Bay also had 2 power play goals of their own. Cooper was not happy, which, by the way, people who don't know, John Cooper is the Tampa Bay Lightning head coach. He was not happy due to the fact that his team took 4 offensive penalties. And what I mean by offensive penalties, I mean offensive zone penalties. He called them not childish, but stupid. Like, they weren't necessary. They weren't accidental. He was just not happy with it. The other thing that Montreal took over in during this game was the faceoffs. Montreal won 61%. Meanwhile, Tampa Bay, for those who can do the math, only won 39%. So that was a great advantage for Montreal. Suzuki at one point was at 88%. He finished the night at 75%. So the next games will probably depict, some of these will depict the series, if they're going to be a tight series. If they're not going to be a tight series, you have teams like the Stars that should come out of the gate swinging after an embarrassment of game 1. The Senators are probably going to try to show us that they can hang with Hurricane, which is the number 1 team in the Eastern. The Battle of Pennsylvania will, in my opinion, probably get more and more rougher as it goes. And the other series that I'm very intrigued of how it's going to go is Utah and Mammoths. It is basically rookie versus veteran. So, with that being said, I will see you on the next episode.